Hello, my name is Julie. Here with me is Haley, Alex, Josiah, and Danielle. We are Team 4, and today's presentation is going to be on Starbucks' responses to the COVID-19 pandemic and Black Lives Matter movement. Coffee opened its first doors in Seattle's Pike Palace Market, where it began its long journey to success. As time went by, Starbucks became popular and currently has over 22,519 stores and is in 76 different countries now. Starbucks is a billion-dollar coffee company that generated a net revenue of $26.51 billion US in 2019, and 16.65 of those $1 billion were from the Americas. Starbucks is a great company that not only takes care of its employees with competitive incentives, such as their Starbucks Achievement Plan, which allows their employees either part-time or full-time to have the opportunity to receive 100% of their tuition covered for a first-time bachelor's degree through the Arizona State University online program. They also focus on giving back to the community by trying to get the youth involved with community service and community stores. They also have the Starbucks Foundation, which supports thriving communities through grants to nonprofit organizations from their hometown in Seattle and neighborhoods across the country, to coffee and tea growing communities around the world. And the foundation is currently focused on extending emergency assistance to the people in need locally and globally for COVID-19. As we can see, Starbucks is a great organization that strives for not only its success, but also local and global success as well. The issues we would like to present are about how Starbucks reacted to the current global pandemic we are living in, COVID-19, as well as their reaction to the Black Lives Matter movement, and how it was different from the way they reacted to the LGBTQ movement. The various topics discussed to help clarify our research are corporate social responsibility, stakeholder management, and sustainability. They are followed by our opinions, possible solutions, and our predictions of what is expected in the future. We believe that this topic needs to be considered because it is currently going on in the world and could help current and future businesses learn from what Starbucks did wrong and learn from what they did right. The consumer will also be able to understand a little more as to why Starbucks reacted to certain situations how they did, and be able to build their ideas and opinions on facts and not just base their opinions off of biased claims that they might read off of social media or blog pages. Now I will hand it off to Haley so that she can discuss corporate social responsibility.
Corporate social responsibility refers to businesses claiming an obligation to benefit all that encounter their operations and management. This stresses that companies must be cautious of their underlying effects their decisions have on society and those around them. Society is attracted to companies that are committed to outstanding performance and giving good for others. CSR can be easily diluted as just customer service, but is vital to creating a customer-focused company. Beginning in 2020, the world was hit with unprecedented times, with overwhelming COVID-19 effects to communities and lockdown orders throughout entire regions. We know that this time was filled with uncertainty and high stress pressure. Companies like Starbucks were not exempt to this. Businesses, large and small, needed to accommodate for new safety directives and social distancing without compromising their products and services. Starbucks chose to keep their company beliefs and values by aligning their decisions under 3 principles. Number 1, prioritizing the health and well-being of our partners, employees, and customers. Number 2, playing a constructive role in supporting health and government officials as they work to mitigate the spread of the virus. And number 3, showing up in a positive and responsible way to serve our communities. In addition, CEO Kevin Johnson released a video explaining the implementation of safety measures at all stores. Practices that ensured the safety of customers such as touchless payments, mobile ordering, and 100% takeaway services. In addition, the Starbucks Foundation donated more than $3 million to COVID-19 relief funds through their Global Relief Fund and $1 million to individual coffee and tea farming communities in Indonesia, Colombia, Guatemala, India, Ethiopia to help families during this crisis. During this pandemic, Starbucks has offered training and therapy sessions for partners to attend in order to keep and create workplace normalcy. They discuss their responsibilities and how to keep their care for customers even through all the uncertainty. Adam Cullen, a Starbucks partner, said, "Mind you, we don't get paid enough, but taking advantage of all these resources makes it worth it. With this in mind, we must be aware that Starbucks is taking care of their partners above and beyond already." As a response to sustainability movements in the recent years, Starbucks has designed reusable mugs, plastic cups, and patterned disposable cups for every occasion. Along with seasonal flavors to go along with them, customers have always flocked to receive their holiday gear for themselves. We've seen merchandise for Valentine's, springtime, summertime, fall time, Halloween, winter, and the unanimous favorite, holiday season. The New York Times calls this 6-week period of seasonal cups as an annual cultural war, the debate between religion, representation, and inclusion on a single paper cup. For some, these designs were too exclusive to Christian depictions of Christmas and not universal to other religions, beliefs, and cultures, or the complete contrary. Select designs of this 20-year holiday tradition have gone completely unscathed and others completely torn apart due to customer responses. Jeff Wilkson, creative director, says that our thought behind the cups this year was about people carrying them out into the world as messengers of joy. This year, customers were offered reusable holiday designs cups for free with the purchase of a holiday beverage. But with the COVID-19 safety precautions, beverages were poured into paper cups and reusables were given separately, causing controversy almost immediately. Community members claiming that this method defeated the purpose of the reusable sustainability. These several scenarios show that regardless of Starbucks' intent at CSR responses for customers, there will be no shortage of continuous criticism and conflict. In June, we saw that partners of Starbucks wanted to wear pins that showcase their support of the movement Black Lives Matter. But we're told that this violated the existing dress code policy. This policy stated that partners are not allowed to wear buttons or pins that advocate a political, religious, or personal issue, therefore making their argument valid and correct. Due to the high-stress time, management thought that staying silent was their best option, but little did they know. Starbucks' decision was deemed as negligence by and for their partners and customers. No response was too safe of an opportunity to participate in a nationwide movement. Partners then publicly stated that they were given shirts and merchandise in order to acknowledge Pride Month and questioned the difference between these situations. Corporate quickly redacted their statement and allowed the wearing of BLM and even produced shirts for all their partners to wear. In addition, Starbucks posted their first public statement on social media to create an alliance with their customer base. Though Starbucks' social participation takes no effect on their coffee brewing, the modern responsibility of standing in solitude with those who drink it matters. Demanding involvement in this pressing issue was a form of social accountability that imitated a human-to-human interaction from a large corporation. Throughout these instances, we see that Starbucks has made a sizable effort to their CSR actions, but inevitably comes with backlash.
Now, let's consider Starbucks' response to COVID-19 and the Black Lives Matter movement with respect to stakeholder management. The COVID-19 response first started with Starbucks closing the doors to all their locations to ensure a safe work environment for their employees. From there, when they were ready to open the doors again, Starbucks recognized that some of their employees were unable or unwilling to come back due to health concerns. And so at that point, they offered them catastrophe pay to assist them with offering to pay them for staying at home, maintaining their health, and understanding that they couldn't come to work. Following the closure and then the reopening and the catastrophe pay, Starbucks also dedicated $3 million to assist stakeholders at both the local and the national level. Now, these were causes, whether it was in Seattle, the birthplace of Starbucks, or it was national foundations that would be distributed all over the country. Starbucks still showed a dedication to ensure that their stakeholders were taken care of. Now, with this COVID-19 response, we see that Starbucks really pulled back a little bit from their profit and shareholder primacy, because closing the doors for even a day can impact Starbucks in a big way because of all their sales revenue they generate every day. They didn't have that. They had to close the doors to ensure that their stakeholders, both external and internal, could return to the stores safely. And this was a big move because businesses throughout time have been all about profit at any means necessary, with respect to obviously certain situations that don't allow that. However, with this emphasis on stakeholder primacy, true effective stakeholder management, Starbucks was willing to pull back from their sales revenue just to ensure that their stakeholders were taken care of at both levels. Now, moving on to the stakeholder management and with respect to the Black Lives Matter response, this is where it gets a little rocky for Starbucks. Initially, they issued a memo prohibiting Black Lives Matter attire in the workplace by their employees. This was met with some serious backlash very quickly by stakeholders at both the external and internal level. External stakeholders began to boycott Starbucks, or at least announce a social media boycott of Starbucks. And internal stakeholders felt that they wanted to support their causes, their movements in the workplace, but they felt silenced. So following this, Starbucks quickly reversed their decision and provided their employees with custom Black Lives Matter shirts. So not only were they emphasizing the fact that yes, we support the movement, yes, you can wear your attire in the workplace, but also they were willing to double down and say, you know what, we're going to order these shirts for you. They're going to be custom Starbucks plus Black Lives Matter shirts to show their support. So they heard their stakeholders. They understood the impact that their decision had on both internal and external, and they needed to make that right with the majority of their stakeholders. So they reversed course, and this was their response. They produced the shirts themselves. They gave them to their employees, and they righted the ship. Now, with respect to diversity, inclusion, and equity, this is Starbucks is a company that has been a long-standing self-proclaimed advocate of these principles. And we've seen that with their with their support of the LGBTQ plus community during Pride Month especially. In the past, Starbucks has been very quick to pass out shirts. They've been very quick to support the LGBTQ plus community. And when the employees wanted support for the Black Lives Matter community, they were met with a restriction. And this is why it was such a problem for the internal stakeholders. They didn't understand why can you support one group but not all the groups, essentially. So are you really a true supporter of diversity, inclusion, and equity? And this is a problem that Starbucks then faced, and they took it back and they reevaluated their stance. The amended response by Starbucks was not only about ordering the shirts, and that was that. They really emphasized new diversity, inclusion, and equity initiatives in the workplace. And this really just culminated the full reversal of their policy that they had, and it showed the impact that a company's decisions can have on the stakeholders, but also the impact that stakeholders can have on the company.
So, sustainability is the process of meeting our own needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. With an unpredictable year like no other, it is important for businesses to understand that the choices they make now can make a huge impact on the lives of future generations to come. That being said, Starbucks must make some decisions to benefit themselves without compromising the ability of future generations. So, sustainability is made up of 3 different pillars, which are the environment, the economy, and society. So before the whole scare of COVID-19, Starbucks were on the way of making decisions for a new environmental sustainability commitment. They had 3 main goals that they wanted to meet by the year 2030. They want to reduce carbon emissions by 50%, reduce water usage through conservation and replenishment by 50%, and reduce waste sent to landfills by 50%. So even though Starbucks' initial plans and ideas were of good intentions, little did they know that COVID-19 would hit and sadly bump their plans out of the way. One of the other ways Starbucks tried to implement sustainable practices was back in 2018 when they got rid of the plastic straws and flat lids. At first, they tried to use paper straws to replace the plastic straws, but customers complained about it a lot because over time the straw would start to become non-functional due to the paper getting too soggy. It then became too hard to drink the beverages, so consumers wanted Starbucks to come up with new ways to drink their coffee by using less plastic waste. The company came up with the idea to use the strawless lids that have 9% less plastic than the flat lids and straw idea. So Starbucks are also known for their special holiday cups. They are planning to hand out a reusable plastic holiday cup this year for free to people who would order a drink for pickup, curbside, and drive-through at available participating stores because of COVID-19. So with this strategy, due to the pandemic, Starbucks is attempting to reduce plastic waste during the holiday season by still having customers bring in their reusable cups for a discount, but it will be served in a disposable paper cup, so the possibility of germs won't be spread around.
Place around the same time and had harmful effects on society and many businesses. Starbucks scrambled to figure out a system in order to keep their stakeholders safe during the COVID-19 breakout. Starbucks made a great decision and shut down many of their cafes while keeping their drive-thrus open for business during the beginning spread of COVID-19. It was not easy for Starbucks to make this decision because many of their employees lost their jobs and were not allowed to benefit from their employee benefits for months. In our opinion, it would have been worse if Starbucks decided to stay open during the pandemic because it would have put more strain on the employees since many people are asymptomatic. Another good reason why they closed the cafes was because it would have been risking the spread of the virus through contact with food and drinks, which would have created even more problems for the company as well as backlash for violating safety hazards of the CDC at this time. Starbucks also showed their commitment to the community by donating money to aid areas that need it the most. We believe this showed Starbucks in a new light, since many believe that Starbucks is greedy, only thinking about revenues and not about the community as a whole. Although Starbucks did well responding to COVID-19, they struggled with the Black Lives Matter movement. Starbucks believed if they stayed silent through the whole Black Lives Matter protesting, they were protecting the company and its stakeholders. However, it actually made the company look bad and insensitive. We believe Starbucks should have responded by writing up a statement with its condolences over the tragedy. Starbucks also did not allow their employees to wear anything related to BLM. We think Starbucks should have handled it the same way the company allowed the employees to wear LGBTQ plus pride attire prior to 2020. We predict that the issue with Starbucks and the BLM movement will continue to be brought up in a negative light, since many can't forget how Starbucks initially responded to the BLM movement. Even though Starbucks struggled with implementing its support, we understand how difficult times have been and encourage Starbucks to now learn from its mistakes and try to do better with future social movements. Our group believes that since Starbucks is a large, well-known company that is not going anywhere anytime soon, the company should look deeper into creating a safer place for its employees as well as its customers to share and support anything that has to do with social movements or social problems. They will always be relevant even in the future.